Good evening everyone, I hope you're all well. Apologies for the lack of video for the last couple of weeks, but that hasn't coincided with me having a little holiday away for 10 nights. So the idea was we were going back to the Isle of Wight this year, and same time as last year. And as the fishing proved quite tricky, the bait fishing last year, I decided I'd just take the lure fishing stuff with me this year and do maybe a couple of little bass videos. But soon after we got to the Isle of Wight, I realised that was going to be a bit of a tricky job due to the quite fierce southwesterly winds that we were getting. And I do believe you had them at home here as well, and you also had fairly stormy weather. Well, we didn't get the thunder and lightning and the rain, but we did get those savage southwesterlies which whipped the sea up into a bit of a froth, and the whole everywhere coloured up, and so the lure fishing was a bit of a write-off from the start. I did have 2 or 3 attempts, and as you can see from this little clip, you know, this is the sort of conditions I was faced with, so it ended up being a non-starter. And so instead of that, we ended up doing a little bit more travelling around the island and having a nice relaxing holiday. We had some superb weather, say, compared to what we had back here at home, and then when we came back, we appear to have brought that decent weather with us. So since I've been back at home, I've had one attempt to get out and do a video, and I've also fished one Monday night competition, and neither really panned out, to be fair. The Monday night competition ended up being quite tough. That was on the Norfolk shingle at Kelling, and it was a really strange night. The sea conditions looked okay. There even looked to be a bit of colour in the water, but it was coming back not with mayweed, but like a brown slime all up the line and dripping off the top of the rod all night long, and that certainly seemed to put the fish off because everyone struggled. I think the match was won with a single smoothound, and there was the odd couple of people who had a bass and some bits and pieces. There was a lot of people with just one small dab. I had 2 dabs on the night, but both were undersized, so I ended up blanking on that. And the other trip that I made out was with the intention of doing another guide, basically because of the weather being so nice, it was going to prove impossible to get the video done, so that was abandoned as well. So we've had a hot and sticky week, and it's been a bit of a job to sleep. So it's now currently 10 to midnight, and what I've decided to do is I'm going to head a little bit nearer to home tonight, and I'm going to fish sand beach on the northeast coast of Norfolk, and the area I'm heading to tonight is Scratby. So that's just below Hemsby and just above Caister, in that area there. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to fish yet until I get there. I know a couple of people who have been there and had some serious catches of smoothounds, so that'll be the target tonight, a smoothound off that coast. So it's about a 40-minute drive from home. What I've done is loaded my gear and the dog into the car, and actually the temperature at the moment is showing at 17 degrees C, so just before midnight, and we're right at the tail end of June now, the last couple of days of June. So that's the plan tonight. It's obviously not going to be brilliant for filming, but the intention is, with a 2 o'clock high water, if I can get there and set up for around about 1:30, I'll get everything prepared and set up, and then we've only got a couple of hours till it starts getting light. So potentially I might put the rods out a bit earlier, but the filming really won't start until they get some proper light in the morning. Hopefully that will also coincide with maybe a few smoothhounds. Fingers crossed. So what I'm going to do is get all set up on the beach, get nice and comfortable, probably put the rods out, say about 1:30, fish the last half an hour up to the top and fish it all the way back down to the bottom of the tide, which should be around about 7:30 in the morning. Okay, I'm all set up on the beach now. I've just put the one rod out and had a quick test cast, and there's quite a bit of tide pull. So I've got a 7-ounce on there at the moment, and I've also walked up tide and cast it well to the left, put a big bow in the line, and that seems to be holding out there enough. There is quite a fierce tide flow, about an hour and a quarter to go to high tide, so it may ease off just before and just after high tide. So best I get some baits rigged up now. I'll leave that out while I'm preparing a bait. Baits tonight are sort of the usual, because I'm targeting smoothhounds. I brought some frozen peelers. I've also brought some large raw prawns, and also I managed to get hold of a few hermit crabs, so it'd be nice to give them a try tonight as well. So that will be the next job. I'll get a bait. I'm not really any hurry, so about an hour to high tide. I want to start fishing just before high tide. Yeah, so that's what I'll do now. I'll get the bait bait up a couple of traces, start off on the one rod, see how we get on, and then maybe set the second rod up when there's a bit more light, and let's see what we're doing. Well, there you have it. First cast, that's just on high tide. I put the rods out at 10 to 2, and just after 2 this has gone off. So first cast, first fish, a nice little hound, and this one has actually come on a hermit, which I managed to get hold of, so fingers crossed. It's 20 past 2 now, so another hour it'll start getting light. I might be able to get a few. So as I say, that's come on a hermit, and just look at the state of that. It's mullered that alright. I managed to get hold of a few of these, so fingers crossed I'll get a few more today. Looks like that's the way, and it's gone down tide, so I'm going to have a look at that. Just turn that right down. See how we get on with that. There's fish number 2, like peas in a pod. That one just came on a standard peeler. We've got another hermit ready to go out, so 2 in 2 casts, can't be bad. Good signs. I'll get him unhooked and get him back. I'm going to put another hermit out this time. I'm going to rotate between peeler and hermit. I'll try prawn as well again. This one's going to go out first of all. Straight away it's gone again. Ratchet's just clicked a few times. Just going to wait for that to go again. There it goes. Ratchet's away. Can't be bad. You see this? That one took the permit. Slightly bigger. Not a bad start. Just flick the hermit off. There you go. That's gone so quick I've not even had time to bait up the other rig. I think it's going to be a one rod night anyway for now. So that's what I've got to try and do now, get a bait and get it back in the water quick as possible. So I'm struggling now to actually get baits in the water quick enough. When that last bite came, I hadn't even started rebaiting, and I mean that's in there again now. I've put a prawn on thinking that might slow it down a little bit, and I'm pretty sure I just had a tap on that then already. And now I've got a nice little peeler ready to go. So if that does go, which I think it's going to any second, I'll be ready. The important thing is, when these hounds hit like this, is to get that bait straight back out in the water as quick as you can, because potentially there's a pack of them going through, and once they've gone through, that might be it. So make hay while the sun shines. I'll try and get another bait ready so I've got two baits, and that situation doesn't arise if I get two quick bites in a row. Let's say, looks like the tide's eased a little bit now. It's not pulling right down until I get a bite. As soon as you get a bite, slack lining you, taking you down tide. I think I just had a bang on that. I mean, once they actually take it, there's no mistake. And you heard in the last fish, the actual ratchet started going. So no, it's still straight out, which means the tide's eased a bit. You can just see in the background now, daylight starting to appear. What have we got on the watch? 5 to 3. So I reckon in another half an hour that'll be light. And hopefully if the hounds hang around, I might be able to get a few on film in daylight. What a pleasant night though. So it was 17 degrees when I left home, and by the time I got here that was 14 degrees. By the time I lugged my gear down here, got a bit of a sweat on, but it's now a really nice comfortable temperature. So the plan is today, obviously, because these beaches do get very crowded when the good weather's here. There's a couple of holiday camps just up the way to my left. Once they start filling up with people, then it's a little bit more difficult to fish properly, and the filming and everything, you know, you sort of struggle to get things done. So the plan is today I'll fish till probably 7:30, and then I'll pack up and get away before anyone starts arriving. We might get a few dog walkers, but the holiday makers shouldn't start arriving till 9-10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. It's supposed to be another decent day, so fingers crossed that might get another couple of fish when the light's a little bit better. Right, that prawn's been out there like 10 minutes now and it hasn't gone, so I'm going to quickly switch that back and change it over for a peeler again. I've got a peeler and I've also got another hermit prepared ready for the hook, so the prawn hasn't gone, so I'll change it over. Well, he was never going to pull the ratchet, that one. But while that's hanging on there, nothing else is going to get to it. So the prawn did work, but it attracted a tiny little babby. Peeler's on there now. Don't think I went through the setup tonight, but it's literally what I normally use for this type of fishing. I'm expecting smoothhounds or rays. So it's a pulley rig with a single J hook, and it's on a 24-inch hook link, and it's got a little bait stop just above the hook, stop everything sliding up. I'm casting it out about 50 to 60 yards, but way up to my left. You put the big bow in the line to counteract the flow, and that's basically settling now just to my left. Now that ties these, I might be able to go more or less straight out, but I don't really see the need. Right, I'm back in the game now. I've got a fresh bait out and a fresh bait on the tripod ready. I had a couple of little nudges just after that went out. Hasn't developed into anything. Sky is now starting to clear, the clouds are lifting. Looks like in the background there we've got a bit of red sky, but it looks like initially it's going to be a decent start for the day. Should get a lovely sunrise. It's been out for another 10 minutes and it hasn't gone. So they've either moved through or that bait's washed out. So I'm going to give it a change. Keep the fresh baits going in as regular as possible. There is also a chance maybe one of those tiny little hounds could be sitting on it again, so not worth leaving it out there and taking a risk. Got a nice hermit baited up ready to go, so I'm going to change that now. much changed. Got a fresh hermit on there now. Just gonna sort the other bait out, the other hook link. Worrying here at that brown sludge again, dripping off the line. It's like, it looks like mayweed as it comes up, loads of little round dots. When it gets to your tip ring, it just drops off like a jelly. So that's the problem, I think, why the fishing slowed up for the last couple of weeks, because that's been in the water. It looks, and it covers your line in this brown stain. I'm hoping it's not nothing it shouldn't be, but it does make you wonder sometimes. That's it, started clicking. I think we're ready to go. Couple of little taps. Just going to put another click on that in case it's the tide moving that. I've got that very finely balanced. I mean, as I said before, once them hounds take the bait, there's no mistaking it. Even with a fair bit of drag set, that'll start clicking, and it does save your rod going over. Yeah, there's definitely a bite there. It's now slack line me. Can you see that? Tips come up, should go down now, and the ratchet should go. Definitely a fish on there. Light into the hermit. That's a slightly better fish again. Let's get him unhooked. Get that bait back out in that water while they're still there. Got a bucket of water down there that I put them in when I can get them in. Give them a bit of rest time. Let's get the next one out. Oh, that's safely returned. I think I mentioned it before in another video I did last year, but when you're putting these hounds back, it's always worth a check a few minutes after you put them back, because a lot of them seem to like to come back on the beach. They surf back in on the next wave. Worth keeping an eye out. If they beach themselves, get them back in the water. I've had one do that tonight, the rest have all sort of been pretty good. That hermit seems to be the thing tonight. It's going a lot quicker than the crab. I'm down to my last two. I only brought half a dozen with me tonight to try, so I shall bring some more next time. Definitely seems to be working. Hardest bit about the hermit crabs is getting hold of them. You know, I was lucky in this instance that I was actually just online doing something, and it popped up on one of my someone on my friends list. It popped up that they had these hermits going, so quickly done an order, and he shipped them to me, overnight delivery. So I booked and paid for them on a Friday, but I wanted them delivered first thing on Monday. And yeah, they were there just before 12 noon on Monday they came, which was ideal. And I bought sort of a bulk lot, if you like. I bought 10 packs with 6 in each. So that's the way to do it if you're going to do it. Get a bulk delivery of them. They're all individually wrapped in 6s. Stick them in your freezer. I've actually got them inside another box inside the freezer to protect them from freezer burn, and just take a pack or 2 out when you need them. They defrost in a couple of hours, and for these hounds they seem to be an absolute magnet. It's a little bit later than I thought, the sunrise, because obviously we've gone past the longest day now. So unfortunately the nights start getting shorter, but you won't notice it for a while. And sod's law that these hounds are going to do one as soon as it's daylight and you can get some nice filming done. They'll be gone, guaranteed. But there you go. I've got enough footage tonight. I've managed to cobble together something. So now we're on the ebb tide, and we're about an hour and 15 minutes into the ebb. Tide pull, should I say, has eased considerably now. I'm able to chuck it out almost straight out now in front of me, and it's just pulling slightly to the right but holding nicely, whereas earlier on, if I went more than 50 yards out, that was just whacking round almost parallel to the beach. So definitely eased off the tide. This has probably been the longest. It's probably been out there 10 minutes just over. It's probably the longest I've had a bait out before it's been hit, but there you go. I think they can come in little clusters. It'd be nice to get a few in the daylight. Right, it has gone a little bit quiet now, so it's time for another bait change. I've got another hermit ready to go. Be interested to see if there's anything left of that one that went out. I haven't seen any indications, but that doesn't mean to say it hasn't been mullered. I think there's been some crabs tonight, but let's find out. Well, it felt very heavy at the first few yards winding in, but the bait comes back and it looks virtually untouched, so I thought it might be crabs, but the bait don't look damaged enough. It might just be coming over a sandbar or something. It was definitely a bit of weight to it, and then it went light, as it does. So, as a bit of an experiment, the next bait I'm going to put out is a small whole squid, just to try that, something different. Right, that's all ready to go. As I say, a whole mini squid, probably for the next cast, just as an experiment. I want to save some of me crab for during the first couple of hours of daylight. So as you can see, I've bit the bullet and I've put the second rod out. It's gone very quiet. Literally on daybreak, as soon as that light's come up. Not sure, a couple of hours down now from the top of the tide, and this was the time I was expecting to be catching. I was told after the first hour and down to the bottom would be the best time on this particular part of the beach, but I've actually found it to be completely different. I only started just before high tide. I probably should have done an hour up and that would have been an hour down, so those 2 hours either side of high would have probably been the peak time tonight. I know it changes every time you go, but as a rough guide I was told an hour before and 3 or 4 down. Second rod's gone out now. I've put there's a hermit on there. It's on a dongle rig on that one, just to again do something different from the other rod, just to see. It now doubles my chances obviously of a bite. Tide's falling away quite nicely now. I've repositioned the rod rest a bit further away. Yeah, no sign of anyone on the beach yet, and the sunrise has been a bit delayed as well by the looks of it. Another big patch of black clouds have come over, only in that one little area though, so I think we'll be alright. Looking at my app on the phone, it's going to be just about 20 degrees today by lunchtime, so I'll be long gone by then. Yeah, so it's been sort of 3/4 of an hour now since my last fish. So I'll just refresh both baits. I've got a whole mini squid on the left rod and a dongled hermit on the right. And they're both put out about the same sort of distance in the same sort of area. What I'm actually hoping is that at the stage of the tide that them hounds went through here, that maybe now it's turning, it's going to go the other way. I might pick them up on the way back, because I would have thought that they go both ways with the tide, both coming in and going out. I've had that before on other beaches, so fingers crossed that's not the end of it. That right hand rod's just tapped and gone slack. Very strange, the line was laying on the beach. Couldn't catch up with it, so obviously dropped it. And that's the dongle rig as well, so that just sows a little bit of doubt in my mind. I'm not very confident with that. I haven't caught a lot of hounds on that dongle. I'm always more confident with a single J, but I want to try it out. But that just dents your confidence a little bit when you miss a bite like that. Proper pull and a slack line. But there you go. It's an encouraging sign, if nothing else. Right, time's ticking on now. It is now just gone 4:30, and the proper sunrise is there now. It's getting on for an hour later than what it was before I went on holiday. So things have gone quiet. I've just refreshed the left hand rod again. I took the whole squid off, nothing on that, 15 minutes out there soaking. So I've put another hermit on there. I've got one more hermit to bait up to go today. I've got a tiny little hermit on the other rod, so they're both fishing hermits at the moment. I've got a few prawns and I've got some more peeler. So I've got plenty of bait. As I say, I'm probably going to give it till about 7 o'clock, no matter what. As you just see now, the main part of the sun's just starting to poke its head up over the horizon. And the sky, apart from that little bit there, is clear all round. It's going to be a hot one. Just change that bait on the dongle now. It was only a tiny little bait anyway, but as I say, I did actually get a take on that. It didn't hook up. So, got a nice peeler to go on there now. Sunrise in full swing. I think I need to use this dongle setup more to gain a bit of confidence with it. I've had 1 or 2 on it, but when you get something like that, when you get a big slack liner and all the line on the beach and you don't hook up, it sort of sows that little seed of doubt. There's a dongle peeler on there now. As you can see, I'll just nick it through that very thin bit at the end, and then there's the hook which goes into the end at the other end, and it's on a perfection loop as well, which I've been told makes a hell of a difference. So let's punch that out, see what goes on. Very important to remember to put those ratchets on, especially if you're using 2 rods, because sod's law, while you're dealing with 1 rod, the other rod's going to go flying. Changed it over to a raw prawn. This bait on here on the dongle don't look too bad, to be honest, but I'm going to refresh it. Left hand rod's got a bit of a bend on it now. I think that tide pull is now picking up again on the ebb. If it starts pulling anything like it did when I first got here, I'll be popping them out 45-50 yards, because that was ridiculous. Okay, it's just gone 6:30 now, and sun's up. I've had to move the rod rest round at a different angle now to get away from the sun. That's also coincided with the tide pool now. It's picking up really strong. So my right hand rod, the last time I put it out, basically swung right round almost parallel with the beach. So what I've done is walked up the beach a bit, about 30 yards from the right, and then cast it out. I can only get it out about 45-50 yards, and it's just about holding up tide there. Put out a big bow in the line. Haven't had any interest at all in the last hour and a half even, so I'm probably going to draw a line under it soon, 7 o'clock, as I expected to. Once I get packed up and up the top there, it's going to be turning into a hot old day now by the looks of it. The sky's completely cleared. A massive, great big ball of orange flame up in the sky up there, look. And yeah, a few people now starting to turn up with dogs. So That's obviously prompted my one. She's come out of her, she's been in the back of the shelter all night. She's now come out and having a little sunbathe, early morning sun. So yeah, I'll probably give it another 15-20 minutes. So I'm going to change the left hand road one more time and then start packing a few bits and pieces away. So unfortunately no hounds in the daylight, but that's sometimes the way. There we go. We waited till right up to the last minute in the sunshine. So I've got one more bait there prepared. I'll probably put that out now as this has come along. The rod had been pulling over for quite a while in that strong tide, and when I went to change the bait, the line was quite slack, so it's resulted in this. The dog's not really interested. But yeah, what a lovely finish to the session, if it's my last one. I think I've had about 6 tonight, and one tiny little one and 5 decent ones, so this is a nice little starry. Let's get him put back now. We're off again, look. Here we go. we saved the best till last by the looks of it. Just as I was putting the few bits away and the other rod down, I heard the ratchet and the rod hooked over. That's now 10 to 7 in the morning. It's just took my last permit, and it's the biggest one of the night. That's 98 centimetres, so that's a decent fish and a nice way to end the session. The dog's now having a wander around. I'm now going to pack up completely. Hope you all enjoyed watching. I've certainly enjoyed it tonight, and it's now turned into an absolutely gorgeous day. So I'm going to go home and doze in the garden. Thanks for watching again. Bye. Say bye. Nah. You can safely say that was a half decent session. Ended up with 6 or 7 in the end, and a seagull on the line as well at the very last cast. So what I thought I'd do is just show you the approach and where to park, as it was pitch black last night and I couldn't really do it. So this is Beach Road, heading down Beach Road, Scratby. And then once we get past this, I'll show you where the parking is. So we continue right onto the bottom, Beach Road. Come to literally the end. Can't go no further, you'll get wet. And then, yeah, just along here, either side of these toilets is your parking. You've got a slope there to take you down onto the beach. Toilets are obviously open during the day, I would have thought. Yeah, all free parking there. Yeah. You've got a little convenience store just up the road there, just come past, and Nisa. So any food, drinks or anything like that you need, you get them in there. Yeah, so all in all, decent session. Obviously this time of year, back into June, now going into July, and obviously as soon as the 6 weeks holidays start, that beach will be absolutely rammed from just first thing to last thing. So it's either going to be what I've just done, a very late early morning start, and then finish early and clear off before the crowds turn up. Obviously I've targeted the smoothounds today because they've been there in numbers, but once that water clears a little bit, I think you're going to get some bass along there as well. You normally do. Obviously dogfish, flatfish, and once the cooler weather comes, it'll be alive with white in there as well. So I tend not to sort of fish these sort of venues in the winter because there's other places that are easier, more accessible to catch the same thing. But once the smoothounds turn up on the sand, they seem to have left the shingle last couple of weeks and they're now moved round onto the sand. I like to get down here at least once and have a go for them. So half an hour now back to Norwich, and I'll see you again on the next one. Cheers, bye.